Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, addicts of all ages, welcome to Canadian Sober, eh? I'm your host and resident alcoholic, Dougie Fresh. So glad you're here. Today is a very special show. I've been trying to get this gentleman on Canadian Sober, eh, for a little while now, and his time has freed up a little bit, and he's here to share. To be honest with you, he's one of my favorite people in recovery. He's always got a smile on his face. He's always got a hug for everybody. And he's just one of the kindest people I think I've met in the recovery rooms. And I think a lot of people would agree with me on that. So I'm super duper blessed that Andrew has decided to greet us with his presence today and share a bit of his story. How you doing today, brother?
Hello, my gorgeous brother. I am good. And you are one of my favorite people too. I love you.
Oh, thank you. So for the people at home that have no idea who Andrew is, can you share a little bit of your story with us, your experience, strength, and hope, maybe?
Absolutely. I think that this is such a great platform, and what you're doing is groundbreaking, Doug. So keep up the good work. It's an honor to be a part of this. So yes, my name's Andrew. Most people call me bitch, but but I answer to anything. People pleaser. I think as most people are these days. A little bit about my story. Okay, so I grew up in Innisfil. I've got a beautiful family. I've got three amazing brothers who are my best friends. I'm the oldest of four boys, and growing up in Stroud, a lovely town. Always sort of we were country bumpkins. I lived and backed onto fields and forests, and yeah, it was always an adventure. I think I always felt a little bit different just because I always kind of beat to my own drum, and that I just always have to be me. I can't be anything but me. So I always did feel a little bit like an outsider, but I always knew my intentions were good. So how could I be wrong? I love to sing. I still sing, and I would always be singing growing up. And yeah, so came from a very loving family. My father had an accident early on when I was around 5, so I really had to be the older brother and almost a father to my brothers as well. So there was a lot of responsibility put on me. But again, our house was filled with love, and I'm really grateful for my family. I was one of those people that I used to judge people who drank too much. Like, I was very prudish in high school. I hung out with the Christian clique. I hung out with every clique. And I would have friends who would go and get drunk on weekends in high school. And I would look down on them and I would judge them, and I'd be like, how could they do that to themselves? It's poison. Are they stupid? And, and then I tried it. And I think I was singing a show. I was definitely I remember being bullied in school and stuff. And I think I remember it a little bit more so than my friends, because I've got friends that I still have since kindergarten. And they always were like, Andrew, you were everybody loved you. You were the star of the show. You were always put on a pedestal. But I remember sort of being outsider, and, I was really bullied in grade 9 gym class. It was so strange. But I was just performing in bullying plays and saying oh, go talk to someone, you're being bullied, and forming around schools all over Ontario with a theater troupe. At the same time, I'm being bullied in my grade 9 gym class in the change rooms. People would pull their pants and, be very aggressive with me. And anyways, that changed though as soon as I sort of accepted myself, and sort of I remember in grade 10, grade 9, I was in the closet, so to speak, because I don't label myself anything, but I like men and women. And at the time I thought that I was all right, I'm coming out of the closet. And as soon as I did that, it was nobody bullied me after that. Everybody accepted me. My teacher wrote a play about me coming out of the closet in front of my whole high school, and everyone was up and cheering. It was so cool. oh my God, I got a glimpse of this love. And I was like, humans, we are evolving, and we can be, do, or have anything we want in this world just by believing in ourselves and wanting it. It is attainable. And so my experiences with this was really great. I started seeing in the church, they would teach that love had no gender. So my experiences with church and school were all very positive, thanks be to God. Um, I remember I first got drunk after a show that I sang, and all the kids were wanting my autographs, and I went afterwards to my friend's house, and they had booze, and um I was like, what the heck? So, and I remember I was like, holy crap, I've this is all this sort of social anxiety or kind of weird overthink things was gone. I felt like I was on fire and I have to care about anything for enjoying my time. And I was like, I arrived. And I didn't care. I used to, like, I still am I'm sensitive as a nipple. And, whenever people say things to me, I take it so personally. And when I was drinking, I'd be like, I don't have a rat's butt. I don't know if we can sass, but I didn't give a rat's ass, say rat's ass, but I don't know. So, anyways, that started, and I was like, wow, and I felt like I was on fire, and I had all the rights to say, and it just was a social lubricant, and it was great for the first decade of drinking. I had so much fun, and I remember going on stage performing drunk, and this thing, the allergy, I don't call it a disease for myself. I call it an allergy, because I just knew, and as I started that first drunk, like, when the hell could I do this again next? And it became like an every weekend thing. I would get the guy that I have a crush on, who just drew to high school. He would buy alcohol, and I would have a chance to flirt with him. Alcohol is always a way too that, like, when I would hang out with people, they would almost be themselves, and it was like, I got to hang out with the real. That's what I thought. I thought people were a lot more outgoing and not none of this pretentious crap. And so that also sold alcohol as like wonder drug for me. And I proceeded to think, like, I will drink till the day I die. Andy and his red wine, like, everybody anonymous with red wine. I'd bring it everywhere, and no one seemed to care because I felt classy. But anyway, so going on through this, I realized now that it was a coping mechanism for some social anxiety. And by the time my drink became to the point of alcoholism, it had rewired my brain to the point where I was like depressed, and I needed it. I didn't realize it. And it became the, like, self-fulfilling doomsday prophecy where I would just continually be in a cycle of drinking. And then my worst drinking when I went to France for school, for culinary school. I was living in a castle. It was a dream come true. The wine over was cheaper than the water, and we had classes canceled. I was drinking every day there, and I think I scared a lot of people because I was it was like Big Brother on crack. It was crazy. Like, I was with all these other students, and dissing, and that was when my game became so bad, and I was fighting with people, and, like, I used to think blacking out was normal, and blackout, everyone blacks out. I just normalized in my mind, and looking back now, I had a very naive approach to it, but I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. And, a lot of times I would say and do things that were hurtful to my family. It was always the ones that I loved the most. I became a rape maniac. Like, I was very split too. Like, I'm the nicest person, but don't cross me drunk because, whoa. And I almost became a walking Ouija board too. Like, there was just crazy things went through spiritual. It's a spirituality. And yeah. So anyways, that's enough about the drinking in it, because it was fun until it wasn't, and it's a nightmare. Um, one thing that I'm going to share, and I just feel like today, I do spiritual read. I've been doing that since I'm 14 years old. Job that I didn't choose, it chose me. I would go to parties and I would drink. At the end of the night, I'd be wasted. Well, a couple nights, one in particular, I was out, and this is just coming to my mind. I literally, the hostess of the party said, Andrew, your face changed, your voice changed. And I started recounting this man's last memories. And I gave names and dates. She was writing all of this down. And I don't know if she recorded it. I don't remember any of this, hardly any. And then I just sort of remember helping helping that spirit and getting his truth out. Well, the craziest thing is all the names, the dates matched up, and this person was a soldier who was decapitated while he was drunk and is buried in an unmarked grave behind my mother's house where I was living at the time. So I literally became a walking Ouija board when I was drunk. And so you just know who you were going to get. I believe that we helped that spirit because somebody knew the truth of his story. Anyways, so that's part of my experience there. And then I just kind of became a person who was living in a desert phase. I moved from the castle in France to a cottage in Vega because I wanted to be alone and I wanted to be able to drink and smoke weed and just basically do whatever I want, do whatever I want, you know, very black promiscuous too. And it was a very lonely, dark time. And my family was talking to me because they didn't know who we were going to get. And I was drinking so much. And I remember it was 2 years ago, around this time of the year, and I had had a horrible bender. I ended up in the hospital yet again. I ended up in the hospital a lot, just if I wasn't in like a psychosis episode or, you know, apparently I had one time I was living in Barrie and I had drank so much. And apparently there was like 5 cops chasing me. Imagine this. This is when I had bleach blonde hair and I was in my little Twinkie phase. And running around, it took 5 cops to take me down. They ripped my pants off. I'm running around the neighborhood naked. My neighbors out, and apparently I got tasered. I don't remember any of this. But I went to the hospital and I was like, holy shit. And my neighbors were so sweet about everything, though. They were like, honestly, if you need any help. So I've been very fortunate that people have been so kind and understanding. And so many people knew I had a problem before I even did. It was hell. It was hell. I thought I was stuck on a goddamn roller coaster that I couldn't get off. And I ended up in hospital for this bender. And I remember I'd met this beautiful girl, Tamara, at the gym months earlier. And she had said something about AA. And I remember her being really sweet. And I was okay. She goes to AA. That's cool. And I told my mom about this. And then I was at my house after I thought I was going to die. And I was at the hospital for a terrible alcohol-induced panic attack. Probably on some drugs too, because party drugs are I would do well drunk. And my mom said, "Well, Andrew, remember there was a girl that you said was in A? She said, why don't you reach out to her, ask her?" I said, "I will." And that night I said a prayer to God. I said, "Please, God, you know, may our paths cross. I hope to see her again. Like I find her," because I had no way of contacting her. I was going to go back to the gym. Well, the next day at work, she's my client, and it was incredible. It was a prayer that was answered, and we had a beautiful session, and she took me to my first meeting that night. It was the Sunday night group in Collingwood, a wonderful. They were doing it was like 100 and something anniversary. No, it was 75th anniversary, and it was this big, beautiful spread of food, and people hugged me. And at first, I was like, "What the f is this? Like these people are so nice. Like what the hell do they want from me? Like what is this weird cult?" And but they just wanted what was best for me. And this program has been so effing supernatural, and I've met the most incredible people in my life. It's changed my life for the better. Everything that I have today is because of my fellowship and my recovery. I got family back. I love them so much. And I became such an asshole. It's such a nightmare to all the people that I loved. And I met my boyfriend in AA. I got a job in AA. That I don't have the job anymore, which sucks. It's new doors. But so many things have come through, and it's just been such a blessing. And actually, I'm in my granddad's car. Like, I was somebody who had nothing. I drank away till I had nothing but a cottage and the kind of strangers, you know. And I was taking the road less traveled and being a rebel, but I was just a really, really, really sick individual who was in the midst of a deep allergy that I didn't even that I had. And this is actually it's my gorgeous grand. I don't know if you can see him, but you might see it. I have it blurred, but his deathbed. He passed away a few months ago. He also was an alcoholic, and he said, "Andrew, you're on such a good path." He said, "Keep on this path. Keep on this path," and I'll never forget that. And we had such a great goodbye, and I know he's always just with me, because it's never goodbye. It's see you later. But yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a journey, and there's some funny memories with the alcoholism, and a lot of the times on stage, like I'd be blackout. I think even on raw daytime, I think I was drunk one or two episodes, but I still did a good job. And like I forgot performances. And even now, like I still love to sing, but singing's in recovery has been a bit of a trigger for me because I'd be singing at bars, I'd be singing at places, golf resorts and stuff like that. And it's so synonymous with my drinking that I have to make a new relationship with music. Now I just sing for myself, and I'm working on an album and stuff, but it's so personal now. And at the end of the day, all that matters is as long as we're doing good for us and following our joy. I've been unlearning a lot of crap, societal, capitalistic, imposed nonsense where, I'm judged based on what I have. And A echoes and harmonizes with my belief system. Our health is our wealth, our happiness is our success. And if we have people we love or who love us, we are the richest people in the entire universe. The rest is bonus and it doesn't matter. So it's helped me to take this crap off my shoulders. He's like, oh, I've got to be such a success. Well, success is all perspective. Success is, in the capitalistic sense is an illusion. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. It's as long as we're happy, we're successful, and we must follow our joy. And being sober has helped me follow my joy. And don't get me wrong, I get temptations every now and then, and it's not just booze or grass. Sometimes it's ass. No, but I got the class and some sass. But anyways, I don't know. And am I at 15 minutes now?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
that was that was good. That was good, man. Thank you
Thanks,
so much
Mark.
for sharing a bit of that with me. I was going to mention to you that that thing you have blurred out of your grandfather. When you were talking there, I was like, and then you started talking about the Ouija boards and stuff. I was like, you have a thing like dangling like in the background of where you're sitting. It kind of looked like you had like a spirit right there, and I'm sure you do have a spirit right there. I'm sure it is your grandfather, and
That's my granddad.
yeah, he loves you, and he's right. Stay on that path. You're doing amazing things. I think you nailed everything on the head. When you talked about successes and who loves us and what's really important in life. I feel a lot of times that representation kind of gets mixed or left behind or left out because we get sober and there's a lot of people that are like, well, I have to accomplish this, I have to accomplish this, I have to accomplish this, I have to make so much money, I have to get this job, like
Yes.
where at the end of the day, you don't, like you just need to be you, and everything kind of falls into place. If it's meant to be, then it's meant to be. And the people we have in our lives, is really what's all important. I went and had Easter supper at my brother and sister-in-law's house, and I was just grateful that I was surrounded by all of those people. You're going to make me cry. I was surrounded by all of those people that that I did horrible things in front of. I said horrible things, and they still love me today and they welcome me into their home. And that could have been a very different story, 9+ years ago. So like when I have my family, my wife's side, I'm very rich. I'm a rich man,
Yeah.
and that's a different quality, I think, than what maybe some people feel you need to do when you get sober. You don't need to do anything. You just need to be Andrew and do what Andrew does. And you know, uh, you brought up something in your share that I want to ask you a question about. Why do you think, like, I know our like, I shouldn't say it, I'm not going to talk program talk, but in our recovery, they call it a disease, and you said you like to call it an allergy. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Well, for me, I just I feel like it just fit better for the way that I look at it. Like I can't drink it. I'm allergic to it. It just makes more sense to me, but I think it's so individual. If someone wants to call it a disease, then and it gives them if it makes them feel empowered to say it's a disease, then that's what they need to call it. They can call it whatever they want. But I think at the end of the day, if they realize that once they start, they can't stop, whatever they call it, um, as long as they identify it, that's the main thing. So yeah, it's an allergy to me because um, yeah, it just fit.
Yeah. I'm interested to know now that you brought it up at the beginning of the thing. What was the play called that you were in that they wrote about you?
Oh, so all right, my beautiful drama teacher wrote the play called "He's a Man." and, and yeah, it was so cool. We did it as a buy-in for school, and we went to the Sears Drama Festival with it. And it was about me, and it was about my life, and basically just accepting who I am. And the most beautiful thing in life is accepting who we are and loving ourselves. And I think we're all on a journey of self-love in a world that's trying to sell us things that we need. They want us to think we need, but we don't need,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
very commercialized.
yes.
Um,
Now
um,
the play would be called "He's a Woman" and non-binary bitches. No, I love everybody. Whatever you want to call yourself, call me. I love you
you
all.
know, you are you're very lovable. You're very kind. My wife absolutely adores you.
Oh, I love
I want to ask this question because like some people are different before recovery. Were you the same as you are now? Like happiness, joyful, like loving. Were you that while you were in your addiction, or am I seeing a different person?
Do you know what? Ever since I was a kid, ever since I'm me. What you see is what you get. I'm still me. If you were to see me drunk, you'd probably, I'd probably try to make out with you, but I'd become too friendly. Yeah, I was a bit of a so, but also dramatic as hell. I thought that I was on a reality show, but little did I know they weren't filming it.
Mm.
Yeah. So, anyways, but I was always me. I always, and I think I get that from my family. I grew up, thank God, in a very loving home, and that yeah, and I'm very nurturing. So I'm an older brother, so I'm everybody's big brother.
That's awesome. I'm sure we said we wanted to get somebody on the show this year that cried, and I just interviewed. I'm not going to bring his name up again because I brought it up last episode. I'm not bringing him up. But a gentleman, not giving him any more attention. A gentleman cried, and now you cried. So that's two people we've had to cry on the show, Deanne. Like that's freaking amazing. And I want to talk about that for a little bit. Your emotion. You know, I've sat in rooms with you where you're newly sober and you show your emotion. What do you have to say to people out there maybe experiencing recovery for the first time who don't want to maybe show that side of them?
That's a really great question, Doug. I think that comes naturally. I remember being scared crapless. My first meeting, I was just out of it was one of my second meetings out of detox. And I was so nervous. I was shaking. I was going to have a panic attack. And I just sat and listened. And you know what? It comes when it comes. Don't force yourself to say nothing. It will. And don't force yourself to feel anything. If you want to observe, great. All I want to say is just keep going, because even if you don't say anything or don't feel like you're participating, by just being there and sharing your essence, you're helping that love of the fellowship, and you're adding to the magic of it. And so yeah, for me, like it was a while. There was some people who were like, Andrew, you need to find your voice and share. And at the beginning, I didn't have anything worthwhile to say. I was so lost and I had no idea. You know, there was so much wisdom being shared in these rooms. And by the way, AA completely blew my mind. What I thought AA was before coming into it, two totally different worlds. And I think, yeah, it comes naturally. So, but don't be scared to show yourself. Don't be scared to show your feelings. But at the same time, do it when it feels authentic. And if you feel like listening, there's no shame in that too.
That's awesome, Andrew. Andrew, I love you, man. You're a shining light in the rooms. You're a shining light in recovery. I think you deserve the world. You'll get it. You know, and I just want to, before we cut off here, I just want to give a big shout out to Deanne, our producer, who produces every single episode, you know, with her daughter and the team that's behind her. I wouldn't be able to make any of this stuff happen if it wasn't for her. And
love you, Deanne.
I wouldn't be able to share people's stories like Andrew's and other people's stories in the rooms. I'm getting emotional now. Deanne, I love you. Canadian Sober A people, I love you. And I'm going to keep fighting for this because this is important. So
this is very important.
Very important. So, oh man, tell a joke so I stop crying.
Yeah, it's what you're doing, Doug. I mean, I know that this is helping people out there, and you're saving people, helping them save themselves. This will reach somebody who needs it. And thank you, Doug. Absolutely. Thank you, Deanne. Like, this is so important.
This is awesome.
Better than half the crap that's out there.
Thanks for joining us this week on Canadian Sober A. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us. See you all again soon.